my channel. So today I'm going to do a 3 looks 1 palette with the new Moonshroom palette from Lunar Beauty. This is my first Lunar Beauty palette that I've ever tried, so it really is a first impressions of the brand as well as this beautiful palette here. And yeah, I do actually have some thoughts that I didn't think I would have. So I've done 3 different looks. Hopefully they're a little bit versatile. There's 2 that are very similar, but 1 a little bit different. Let's get into the looks and then I will come back with my thoughts. I also wanted to try the Moon Prism in this video. This is not part of the same collection. This is part of a previous collection, but it is a beautiful blush palette, which I have tested in 2 of the 3 looks. So I also wanted to speak about this one as well. Alright, so those are the 3 looks that I did. I have some thoughts on this, I really do. Now, I love this color story, and I don't know what it is about it, maybe because it just has a pop of yellow and some purple. It does remind me a tiny bit of the Nomad Fête de Provence palette, which I've had to declutter from my collection, and that was very like yellow and purple. And I don't know, obviously there's a lot of green in this, and there's a lot of depth in this, which that palette doesn't necessarily have. However, I did find like this part of the palette, I don't know, very appeasing to me when I first saw this launched. And there's something about these grungy greens that I really love. I find them really easy to wear. I find them like an everyday neutral look. Even though they're green, they are very wearable and they're not like in your face. So I took the plunge and I bought this palette. I also bought the Nude Prism, which goes with this palette, which is a blush palette. This is the Moon Prism blush. but I have not tested that one out yet. If you want to see a 3 looks with that one as well, it's a very, very neutral palette that I don't know if I can come up with 3 different looking looks with that one, then let me know. But I definitely wanted to try this one just because I'm into these greens at the moment. I'm already wearing green and I've already been dipping into these greens. So I just thought, oh, it's gonna be perfect for what my time of year, like what I want to wear. And yeah, it took like almost a whole month to get here. Shipping was very, very expensive. And boy, do I have some thoughts on this. Okay, so I did 3 different looks, right? The first look, I concentrated on basically this quad, and then I went into this shade as well. I love the fact that you could do like a purple look in this palette and not have to dip into any of the yellows or the greens, and you can just have a completely different type of look. So I loved that. And I thought the look was quite pretty. I had no issues with it. I did find it a little dark because obviously this is a really deep purpley plum color, and I didn't go anywhere that day, so all I did was sit outside and I had quite a bit of makeup on my face, so that's the only thing. However, it's just not, I don't usually do deep dark looks, right? So that was the only thing. I feel like these 2 mattes performed great. I didn't have any issues with those 2. And then the shimmers are really soft and they're not super impactful. I honestly thought that they would be a little bit more impactful. They're very beautiful, they're shiny. You can see that they have quite a bit of a base to them, and they're not like your typical indie topper shades, which I've actually come to really enjoy and appreciate. So it was like, oh, okay. I was like kind of expecting maybe at least one of the 2 shimmers to have that sort of wow factor. But this one basically has the wow factor. I think this is the Magic Mushroom. It still feels the same, but I love the color of this, and it's a little bit more, I would say a little bit more metallic, but still has this, like they all have this very soft, thin texture. I want to say that they're quite thin, but they do have obviously body to them where they're not just topper shades, they actually do have like an underbase to them. So I thought that was interesting because obviously I've never tried the brand, so I don't know if that is typical of his shimmers. I am assuming it is, and I feel like this type of makeup is good for an everyday user, not someone who wants to have in your face bright eyeshadow every single day. These actually are really soft and beautiful and wearable. So yeah, thought that was interesting. The second look that I did, I haven't edited my video, so I could not tell you what I did in that second look. All I remember is I went into some of these greens up here. I think I went into this one, which is like a murky greeny yellow. And I know I went into this one, I believe. But the one thing that I do remember is I went into this and I did it all under the lid and in my inner corner. And I thought that that was such a nice brightening shade. So I might be dipping into this palette just to use this shade for my under eyes to give me that brightness, and also obviously to set my under eyes, because all the powder that I'm using at the moment is not working. And I thought that it made it look so beautiful when I set my under eyes with this one. So I thought that was like a win-win, because obviously it can be an eyeshadow, but also I could just use it around the eyes. And hopefully it doesn't look crazy, you know, once I've edited it, because I haven't seen the footage yet as I'm filming this. But that's the only thing I remember of the second look. It was only 2 days ago, but honestly I couldn't tell you what I really did in the second look. It was very basic, but also I thought it was very beautiful, and I liked the greeny aspect of it. Okay, so for my look today, I do have some issues today. So I have issues, yeah, but I have issues about my eyes. So I went into this green, which is the green that I saw didn't blend very well on Angelica Nikovitz's video too, when she tested this palette along with like 3 other indie palettes. So I was a little bit wary about using this, but I kind of wanted to do this quad right here. I've been trying to like figure out what I want to do in this palette, and I've been looking at the quad. So I went into this quad. So I went into the green first. I thought it looked fine. I had no issues putting the green on. I did use my Beauty Bay eye base today, and that's it. So I have nothing else on my lids when I went into the green. I didn't find any issues with it. However, when I went into this one, which is called Fuzzy Foot, names are funny, it was shocking. It like got stuck, and I don't know what it got stuck, because I'm not using like a really grippy eye base primer. It's more just like a nice like eye base, and it's not like super tacky and sticky like some eye bases can be, and it completely got stuck to something on my skin. So that one wasn't the best, I would say, and I had to basically like rub it in with my finger. So not the most ideal situation. And I don't like it when mattes don't blend easily, because I'm not a makeup artist and I just want easy breezy makeup. I do not want to have to faff with makeup. So I don't know if it's a dead shade or it's my technique, but I'm kind of feeling that maybe the mattes are a little bit patchy. So I don't know. Well, at least these two, when I put them together. And then I went into Spores, which is this beautiful like goldy green color, which is beautiful. But again, it's like low impact. It's not super like in your face, which a lot of people will love. A lot of people will miss that in your face look though, so I get you. But I don't know, I thought it was nice. I think these two in the viewfinder, they look quite different, but when I look at them, you know, in real life, they look very similar. So I feel like these two are a little bit too similar, and maybe change this one a little bit because it's a little bit more yellow and this is a little bit more like gold, bronzy color. But I do feel like when I'm looking at them in the palette, they look very similar. So that's something that I've noticed as well. But you can really tell this one is very yellow in the viewfinder. It doesn't look that yellow in real life. It's crazy. Okay, anyway, so I put that one on. I thought it was a pretty shade. And then I wanted to go into Foxfire because I actually looked at the palette this morning. I was like, I want to go into Foxfire. How am I going to go into it? So I thought it goes really well with Fuzzy Foot. And then I looked at, and that's when I saw this quad. So I went into Foxfire and I went in and kind of blended it in from the gold to the brown. And I think that worked quite nicely. It like altered the color and made it more like a duochrome. I don't know. I thought it looked pretty. Again, low impact, not like in your face shimmer, but I actually really like that color. However, I felt like I was getting hard pan just by going in it with my fingers. And I did hear that you are supposed to go in with your fingers with his shimmers, but if I'm going to start getting hard pan on them, it's going to put me off. So that's a little bit of a bummer. You know what it reminds me of? Although they're not as soft, the Sigma shimmers get hard pan instantly, at least for me, when I go in with my finger, and they get that like that black sort of looking, I don't know, hard pan texture look. It looks ugly, and his are starting to look like that, at least in these two. So I don't know what it is about the formula, but they're kind of similar. However, these are much creamier and softer than Sigma. But anyway, I didn't want to stop there because I thought, well, that look is going to be really boring. So then I went into Honeysuckle, this bright yellowy orange in the inner corner. And obviously because it's a matte and I wanted a little bit of a shine, I did end up going in to my Beauty Bay highlighter just to do a little bit of sparkle. But that's it. That's all I did for the third look. So my thoughts, my final first impressions, thoughts, because obviously it's a first impression. I'm going to continue using this palette. I also want to try his other palette. So yeah, if you want another 3 looks, similar style video with that one, if I can manage 3 looks, I will try it. Or maybe I'll do a bingo, I don't know. Bingo would be really boring with that palette, I think, because it's literally all neutral. But we'll see, maybe I can try to be creative. I don't know. I want to say straight off the bat, I feel like with the first look, I felt super creative. The second look, I felt like, oh, this is like an everyday look. I can go into it all the time. Today, I struggled because I wanted to do something different from my second look. Although this is not too different, I did struggle a little bit. So I feel like the color story, and I already knew this going in. I love the color story. That's why I bought it. I haven't really bought any of these other palettes at this point up until now, because this is the one that pushed me over the line, right? So there's something about this color story that I love, the greens and like that, just those ugly, the ugly greens and yellows, right? I just like those colors. But who doesn't? Everybody loves these murky colors. I think they can look really beautiful on the lids. I did struggle with inspiration, I would say. So obviously I know I wanted to go into this shade today, but I struggled to know what to do with that. So I don't know if it's going to be a palette where I just do like 1 or 2 looks all the time and then I don't really know what else to do. There's a little bit of a lack of inspiration when I look at it now that I have the palette. So that's just something to bear in mind. And I think it might be just because there are some shades that are quite similar. Like I said, I think these 2 shimmers, they look different, but I find them quite similar. And I don't know, I mean, there's a lot of the same tone shades in here and a lot of depth, which I probably didn't need. So maybe in hindsight, it wasn't the best buy for me because the formula isn't the easiest to work with in terms of the mattes. I will give it, like, this was the first look where I had issues blending the mattes and they were patchy, right? So maybe I'm having an off day, but first impressions is not great when you feel like your mattes are not blending. So that's already like put me up a little bit. We'll see. I really like this shade. I like this shade. I think it's really versatile. And my first look was, I like that I could do a purple look. And you wouldn't expect to be able to do a purple look, but this pop of purple, you know, actually is really helpful. So yeah, I don't know. The shimmers are not super impactful, but I do feel like they are more of your everyday wear. So if you are more of an everyday makeup and you want your like in your face shimmers from a lot of other indie brands, you know, this formula is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a different type of texture, a different type of finish. And I think I was expecting a little bit more impact. I don't know why, because it does do a lot of soft glam. Like MCoBeauty does do like soft glam makeup. So I don't know why I was thinking this would be like in your face. Maybe just because I've had a lot of palettes now that are in your face and I'm just expecting everything to be like that. It is nice to have something a little bit different. Is it my best, you know, is it the best formula that I've tried or my preference, like my favorite? Probably not. But it's still beautiful. So I like to play around with it a little bit more. I feel like I have just mixed feelings on it. I think that's ultimately what my final decision is on my first impressions. Mixed feelings, it's nice. Let's go on to this palette. This palette is pretty. I didn't use all of the shades, but I did go into this shade in the first look, and I also went into this. This is like a topper. This is a beautiful peachy topper. And you know, I love these shades. I love these shades. What I will say is on the first look, I did find that it wasn't very pigmented. So you can definitely build it up, which is nice because sometimes if a blush is too pigmented, then you make a mistake. So this one, you can definitely build it up. However, I went into this one thinking, well, I could use it as a bronzer, but I definitely feel like it looks prettier as a blush, but I did use it as a bronzer. I put it on my forehead and everything, and it still looks pretty. It has, it does have a pink undertone though, so that's why I think, well, actually it's probably not a bronzer, but in the pan it looked like I could use it as a bronzer, so I did. I might continue using it as a bronzer, to be honest, because I actually kind of liked the look of it. And then I went into this shade, which I felt like was a little bit more pigmented than this one was. So I don't know what it was, but I actually liked these two together. I thought they were really pretty, and because I already had a little bit of that pink, I kind of wanted to gel it all together. So I think this is beautiful. I actually like face palette. So I wanted to splash out and get a face palette, and I had been wanting to try this since it came out last year, and I'm glad that I have it because I like the finish of it. I think they're very pretty. So I'll definitely get more use out of that one. And I think first impressions, I do really like it, and I don't have any bad thing to say about it. So yeah, that is my video for the Moonshroom palette. I like it. I do. I love the packaging. I think the packaging is beautiful. Yeah, I don't get this thing about everybody loving mushrooms, but whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I like the color story. And like I said, it's the reason why it pushed me over the edge of buying from Lunar Beauty, because obviously he does have a lot of beautiful palettes. This one got me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like the video. And if you want to see more 3 looks 1 palette, let me know. If you want me to do one on his nude palette, let me know. I might just test that out on my own and not even do a 3 looks. I don't know how I could do a 3 looks with that. But anyway, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.